In today's lesson, we're going to discuss how to solo over a swing blues. This is the type of groove and changes you'll typically hear jazz musicians play over when they play a blues. Now, these particular changes really lend themselves to some nice chord substitutions that you're not going to get with a typical 1-4-5 blues. So I've put together a little solo here. We're in the key of G. I'll play it down and then we'll talk about it. So as always, the tabs and notation for this solo and all my other lessons here on YouTube are available over on my Patreon site. The link is down in the description, so check that out if you'd like to download the tabs. But let's get into this solo. To start out, we're going to play a little pickup right out of the G major pentatonic scale. Right, that's the 5th up to the major 6th to the root, and then sliding into the major 3rd and then grabbing the 5th. So all right out of this major pentatonic scale, right? And then we switch over to the minor pentatonic scale as we go to the quick 4 chord. But I'm still playing that 6, that major 6. As we lead back to our 1 chord. Then going to the 4 chord, which is going to fall in measure 5, we do a 2-5-1 to get to that chord, right? And this is basically just a 2-5-1 to the 4 chord. So the 4 chord is C or C7. So we're going to do a D minor to a G7 or a G altered, and then resolve to our C major. And for this, I do a couple of little chord substitutions. Over the D minor, I'm actually going to play an F major 7. Right, that's the relative major of D minor, and a really nice substitution to use over a minor chord. Basically, you just go up a minor 3rd from your minor chord, so from D minor up to F, and play a major 7. That's going to give you this kind of D minor 9 sound. And then for a substitution over this G7 chord or G altered chord, I'm actually going to play a B diminished 7th chord. Right, and that's going to give me the notes of sort of a G7 flat 9 chord, which is a nice alteration to play over the 5 chord of a major 2-5-1, right? So and then all leading to chord tones of the C7 chord, right? Because that's where we're heading. So right, then as we move on through the progression, we're going to go from C up a half step to a C sharp diminished 7th chord, right? This is our passing chord that's going to get us back to G7. So for that, I just outline that chord. Right, write down a diminished 7th arpeggio. Right, and then this is where we come into the 1-6-2-5 section of this jazz blues progression. Now, if you're not familiar with these changes, and I'm kind of moving fast through this, I've got lots of other lessons on the channel really going into detail about these changes. So I'll put some links down in the description. Check out some of my other lessons on this if you want to get deeper into these changes. But this is just one example of things we can play over this. So going into the 6th chord, which is this E7 chord, I do a similar thing by substituting a diminished 7th arpeggio over top of the E7 chord. So there I'm playing like an A flat diminished 7th chord, all the notes of it. And then I'm resolving that to the 2 chord, which is our A minor 7 chord, the 2 chord of G. So right there's the 3rd of the chord and the 5th of the chord right out of this shape. And then as we go to the 5 chord, I'm playing sort of an altered sound over that D7 chord. So D altered, which is that scale right there. And I play, right, something like that. Right, and then resolving back to G. So these are all just concepts you can use and elaborate in your own way, right? The idea of playing a major 7 arpeggio off the relative major of a minor 7 chord is something you can use in a ton of different ways in your playing. The idea of using diminished 7th arpeggios over functioning dominant chords or secondary dominant chords is something that you can apply in a ton of different ways. And if you've listened to my playing on this channel and different things that I've posted, these are common themes and concepts and ideas that I use all throughout my playing. And then the idea of playing, adding altered sounds and altered colors like the sharp 9 and the flat 9 over functioning dominant chords like a dominant 5 chord that's resolving back to the 1 chord is a great concept that you can use and expand and stretch out. So this is just going to be a quick lesson. I just wanted to dive into the first part of this solo. Again, you can watch this solo, slow it down on the playback speed if you really want to get into it, or head over to the Patreon site if you want the tabs and notation. I'll also put this backing track up there. So hopefully this is helpful for kind of getting you some new vocabulary and getting you into playing over this style. This is one of those things you've got to really just work up vocabulary over, and then practice playing over these grooves. There's a certain skill to playing this kind of swing thing and really locking into that triplet feel. So until next time, happy practicing and take care.